Hi guys, how are yous? We are back again. So this time we're going to focus on Christmas. So we have a couple of little dudes that we are putting out on our website. We have Mr. Reindeer, who is my favourite every year, and we have the Mr. Santa Claus himself. Okay, but today's tutorial is going to be Mr. Reindeer. Okay, and for this you need 5 colours. We need some yellow, purple, white, black, and of course some red for his wee nose there. Okay, now I've just made this wee guy this morning, so he's still drying. But we're going to use him just to let you see how we're going to make this little reindeer today. Okay, so in your pack you will have got tools. So any tool at all is fine. But lift out one tool. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to start with his body and his legs. So we need to open our packs of clay. So we need to open our purple and our yellow. So let's do that. Purple and yellow. And guys, what I want you to do is to join those together. And you're going to stretch and fold until you form a purple. Okay, so not a purple, a brown. Okay, so stretch and fold those 2 sachets together, all of the clay, give it a good old stretch out and fold back. Okay, until you get brown, which is great. Now what I want you to do is to pick off a little piece of clay about the size of a large pea, okay? The size of a large pea or peanut M&M, okay, and set that to one side. We're going to use that later. With the rest of your clay, I want you to roll sausage. And don't forget that you can pause this wee video at any time. If I'm racing on and you're finding it hard to keep up, just put me on pause and come back to me when you're ready, okay? So, sausage shape, I want you to divide this into 3 pieces. Okay, so cut it into 3. 1, 2, 3. Set 2 to the side. And this middle piece is going to be our body. So I'd like you to roll a ball. Okay, roll it up round and round. And then make that into a little egg shape by putting your hand to one side of the ball and rolling forward and back so that you get an egg shape. Give that a tap on the table to flatten out the bottom a little bit, okay? And then just use your thumb, press down a little bit at the top because you don't want it to be too pointy at the top or his head will just roll right off. So that is his body ready to go. So we're going to set that to one side and I want you to bring forward one of the 2 pieces that we have set aside there, okay? These are going to be the legs. So I want you to roll a sausage, cut that into 4 pieces, down through the middle and then through the middle again, so that you have 4 pieces of clay, all in and around the same size. Roll those all into ball shapes. Take out all your wrinkles and creases. So the harder you roll, the smoother they will become. So roll those all up, 4 ball shapes, okay, and roll forward and back to make those into little sausages or little droplet shapes, okay? So you can make one end thinner if you wish, okay, so it's not quite a sausage. So whenever you're rolling on the ball, keep your hands slightly angled, not too much. You don't want it to be pointy like a carrot, okay? So you want 4 of these. Okay, so that's us. We've got 4 of those. This little guy is just sitting down like this. You can have him sit like that if you wish, or you can bring forward your body, okay, and put the thinner parts of the legs are going to touch the body, okay, but before we do that we're going to turn these legs up so that the fatter bit is at the bottom and give those a bit of a tap on the table so that they stand up, and this is sort of going to form the paw, okay. So what you can do here, so you tap that in the table, it flattens out at the bottom. If you want you can pinch it a little bit, so just give it a wee squeeze on the end, okay, and you'll see that that has formed almost like a little foot. So you can do that with them all. So turn them on their sides and they'll naturally roll so that the bigger bit sits up at the top. Give them a bit of a squeeze, and there you go, you've got your 4 little legs. So we're going to pop 2 of those onto the 2 sides, so the thinner bits touch the 2 sides of the body and the legs come out at the front. Okay, now if you want, you can put your other 2 legs together and set them to the front, just like this guy here. Okay, or if you want to do it slightly different, you can put the arms up at the shoulders and just let them rest on the 2 lower legs. Okay, so either way he's sitting upright. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. There we go. So what we're going to do now is the head. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to take our last piece of brown clay, and we want to pinch off about the size of a pea, give it a little bit of a stretch and fold, roll it into a ball. This is going to be our tail, very short tail on our reindeer. Okay, so roll a little ball shape, and then with your finger put it to one side and roll forward and back until you have a little droplet shape. And you're going to hold that by the point. Hold it by the pointy end, bring forward your little reindeer, round to the back here, okay, and you're going to push the fatter part of that right in at the back so that he has a nice little tail. Okay, great, so that's that part done. Now we need to allow for his ears, okay, so we haven't taken off any clay for his ears yet. So what I want you to do is to take off 2 pea-sized amounts of clay, okay, so that would work out about the size of a big peanut M&M, and set that to one side. And with the rest, we're going to stretch and fold. This is going to be his head. So stretch that out, fold it back. Roll a ball. Take out all your wrinkles and creases. You don't want a wrinkly Rudolph. Okay, so roll a ball shape. And then we're going to make an egg shape again. So exactly the same thing as we did for the body, we're going to do for the head. So forward and back on one side until you get your egg shape. Now we're not going to tap it on the table this time because we don't want it to be flat at the bottom. We want it to stay nice and curved for his head. Okay, so what I want you to do at this point, okay, is to take your white clay, and I want you to take out of it 2 little pieces of clay about the size of a pea. Or you could go for 1 bigger pea and we'll cut it in half. So that's what I'm going to do. 1 bigger pea amount and we'll cut it in half. So give that a good old stretch and fold. So this would be about the size of a Skittles sweet. Just like this. Okay, so roll a sausage, cut it in half for 2 eyes and roll 2 ball shapes. And then we're going to do the exact same with the black, only a lot smaller. So we want 2 tiny little bits of black. So you're really just taking out a pinch, okay? And you can roll that into a sausage again and cut that in half. Be hard to stretch and fold that wee bit. If you can, then great. So at the minute we have 2 black pieces, 2 white pieces. So I'm going to use my finger to flatten down the 2 white, and then I'm going to touch on the black and pop those on top of the white. So we have 2 eyes. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to touch those together very gently, and I'm going to set those about halfway down the head. So the fatter bit is to the bottom, guys, okay? The big rounded bit is to the bottom. And if you really wanted to, you could put a little shine on the eyes. So you could take a tiny little piece of white and roll a little ball and flatten it and then put it up onto the corner of the black. If you've got a big black, so just like this, little shine on the eye there, okay? So what I want you to do is open your red. So whatever you've got in your white, wrap it in cling film to keep it nice and moist and not dry out, okay? So wrap it in cling film. Same with the black, guys, okay? When we're finished, do that, okay? We're not just finished yet. So with the red, we're going to take out a piece of clay. I'm going to take a piece of clay out probably about the size of a Malteser sweet, maybe just slightly smaller. Okay, I like him to have a good sized nose, but if you prefer a smaller red nose or you prefer a really big red nose, that is up to you. Okay, so roll a ball shape after you've stretched and folded, roll a ball, and we're simply going to pop that on, making sure that the fatter bit's to the bottom, pointy bit to the top, okay, and we're going to pop that on just in front of his eyes. Okay, now you can take your tool at this stage, no matter what tool you have, you can use it to give your reindeer a wee smile, okay? So give him a nice wee smiley mouth at this stage, okay? So set that to one side, bring forward your brown for the ears, and we're going to roll a sausage and cut that in half because we need 2 pieces for ears. Roll 2 ball shapes. And then the same shape that we made for the tail, guys. So forward and back on one side to get your 2 little droplet shapes. Okay, can you see that? 2 little droplets. And then we're going to use our thumb to just flatten those down a bit. And if you've got a tool, you can make a little line or a little marking in the middle of the ears, just to make it look a bit more realistic. And make it look a bit more like an ear. Okay, now they're going to go onto the 2 sides of the head, okay, like this, because we have to leave room in the middle for the antlers. So I'm going to pop these onto the 2 sides, making sure that I've left enough room for my antlers, okay. And at this point we need to bring forward the white again, and we're going to take out of the white 2 pieces of clay about the size of a big peanut M&M, okay? So we need 2 pieces the size of a peanut M&M. So, yeah, about that, okay? About the size of a peanut M&M. Don't worry if it's slightly bigger, okay? If it's slightly bigger, that's fine. You don't want it to be too short though, okay? Or, you know, too small. So give those a good old stretch and fold to soften up your white clay. Now, do you remember at the very start we set aside a piece of brown clay? So what we're going to do, we're going to bring that forward, we'll set that away out of the way, and we're going to pinch a little bit off, okay, and add it to each of these pieces of white. Just a pinch, and we're going to stretch and fold that in. And what we're doing is we're making the colour for the antlers, okay? So we don't want the antlers to be white, they're going to be like a very, very pale brown. Okay, so stretch and fold that in. So it's, you can see the colour difference there. So it's not white, it's a very pale brown. Roll those both into ball shapes, and then into 2 little sausages, about half the size of your thumb or about the size of your thumb, depending on how wee you are. Okay, all right. So lift up the little sausage and take your tool, and we're going to cut a little line right down the middle from the top. Cut a little line right down so it looks almost like the letter Y. And we're going to do the same with the other one. Hold it up in between your fingers and cut down into it so that it looks like the letter Y. Okay. So we'll pop these on in between the 2 ears. Okay. Just like this. Okie dokes. And then you can bring forward your little body, and you can pop his head. He goes at a bit of an angle, okay. And just put his wee head on at the top of his body. Just like this. And that's your wee reindeer finished. So that's him sitting that way, and that's him sitting with his legs to the front, just like that. Okay guys, well done, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.